Hello, my name is Anai, and this is my adolescent autobiography. So the first part is the reflection, and basically here I'll just be going over my experiences as a young adolescent, my priorities, social interactions, and some insecurities that I've had and I can remember as I was growing up in middle school and high school. So to begin with, some priorities was definitely school, and that is because of my parents. Since they are immigrants, they migrated from Mexico at a very young age. They didn't have a high education. I think the farthest was middle school or even elementary. So that's kind of something that my parents gave me, that like mindset that you have to go to school, you have to get your high school diploma, get into college, and that way you will be set for life. So I remember I would take honor classes in high school, even in college. So those are that's a priority that I had growing up. In terms of social interactions, I consider myself to be very social. I can make friends easily and make conversation, but at the same time I think there are times that I can be shy. But for the most part, I think that I can make relationships work and communicate effectively. Now, in terms of insecurities growing up, I remember I had a few. One of them being acne. I used to have acne all over my face. It was red. It was like I would say cystic acne. I still have scars, but it has gone significantly down. I remember that being one of my insecurities because I remember feeling like sorry for myself, like why did I have to get this like face, or why did I have to get acne? No one's gonna love me, my value is gonna go down. Same thing with my weight. My weight was also another insecurity of mine, like why am I chubby as compared to other peers in my class. And as far as this reflection goes, it also asks if I have changed or improved from these experiences. And I would say I have. In terms of my insecurities, I have gotten better. I have had time to like work on myself and be like, okay, well, acne is not a bad thing. It is normal, especially in that time period, now that I know. So that has gotten better, as well as my weight. I haven't talked down on myself as much. Now, in terms of my priorities, that hasn't changed, as I am still going to college and receiving my higher education, and I'm almost done on my last year. So hopefully in less than a year, I will graduate with my bachelor's. Now, it also says to include an exploration on one of these issues, and I would say that would be my peer relationships. So that I would say that this is something that I highly value when I was younger, because I always wanted to fit in. I never wanted to stand out. I never wanted anyone to think differently of me, or in a bad way, like, oh, why is she like this, why is she like that. So I deeply value peer relationships because it just made me feel like accepted in a way, like, oh, they accept me like this. So I always tried my best. I would always ask. I remember my father, I would always ask him, like, can you buy me this, can you buy me that, that's the new trend, like. And I remember him also trying to tell me, like, you don't have to have the best clothes, you don't have to have the newest iPhone, your real friends will love you for who you are, regardless of the way you dress, what things you have. And that's something that has also changed my perspective of peer relationships, since I have talked about how I wanted to fit in. So I would say I would be a people pleaser, but only because I didn't want to feel less of myself, which I still do. So I try to put others before me. But what I'm constantly learning is that I need to do what's best for me in regards to other people. Yeah, I can help them out, but I have to help myself first. So that's just an exploration that I wanted to dive into, my peer relationships. And also because I'm a social person, so I do value that, because I feel like when I'm by myself or in my room, like, I tend to get overwhelmed because I don't like the silence. I need someone there, or else I just feel completely alone and I shut down. Now, in terms of application, considering Stanley Hall's 6 themes of adolescence, as I was searching the web as to what these 6 themes were, I came across a website that emphasized Hall's educational prescriptions, and one of them I found, and I quote, differentiated curriculum for students with different futures, that is, an efficient curriculum, including education for girls that emphasize preparation for marriage and motherhood. So this theme kind of resonated with me because growing up, I kind of always heard like, oh, women, you guys are going to get married, you guys are going to have kids. It wasn't necessarily like as men when we hear like, oh, boys, you're going to grow up, become a doctor, become this, become that. So something big. Whereas girls, women were like, oh yeah, you're going to get a man that's going to make money. Or so it wasn't necessarily like women themselves that were going to level themselves up, but just kind of like, I wouldn't say an object, but how it said like marriage and motherhood, like that's the only thing we're tied down to at the end of the day. And I feel like that kind of resonated with me because although I am going to school and I am doing that for my own goal, at the end of the day, I also want to become a mother and I also want to get married. So that's something that resonated with me and has influenced my behavior because growing up, that's what I've always heard. Now, an inquiry that I have for adolescents is that why, including myself when I was an adolescent, why were we so eager to grow up? And now that we're all grown up, it's like we want to go back to being kids. So it's kind of that like mentality, like why did we want to be a grow up at such a young age? And now that we are grown up, it's like now we want to be kids again. But yeah, thank you for listening.